Why did John send his disciples to question Yahawashi? I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh.
Why
Ba'ashem
did
Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Why did John send his disciples to question Yahawashi? John meaning John the Baptist. And I was watching a couple of videos, a little while ago. One of them being Apostle Elder Gabar's video defending the gospel, the correct interpretation of Mark 9:38-39, and also a video that he watched that gave him the inspiration for this video, which was the brother, the priest, Karatazar, up and coming elder, the head of the Vegas camp. The brother goes back, way back. He used to be in the LA camp, until he moved out to Vegas. But his video is to Zaryak, you're wrong again, Mark 9:38-39, and he goes in here on the video that Captain Tazaryak and Captain Katazar both did, where the individual from Adam Abbott, I believe his name was Brother Amos, was asking them about Mark, the 9th chapter, 38, 39th verse, and Katazar went completely off. The only thing I could think of is ye err not knowing the scriptures. And this is the pride. This is what pride gets you, man. The Lord said he resisted the proud, but he giveth grace to the humble, to the lowly. But be that as it may, I just wanted to hit a couple of points. And because as I was listening to the videos, just different thoughts roll through your head. And, when when John sent his disciples to Yahweh. Oh, another thing he said before I go into the lesson, another thing he said was, it was either him or Tazaryak. I believe it was Tazaryak. I forget which one of them it was, but they said, it was Tazaryak, show me where John the Baptist and his disciples followed Yahawashi. Obviously, that wasn't a very well thought out question, because Andrew, the brother of Peter, and John, the brother of James, which both became Yahawashi's disciples, that were formerly disciples of John the Baptist. So that part he didn't think out too well. And the second part about John following him, first of all, that was not John's job. John's job was to prepare the way for the Messiah, because the Messiah was the one that was going to take on the road and the role of the ministry, and the John the Baptist, all his job was to do was just to prepare it. Now, when we read in Matthew 11, right, let's see Matthew 11:1. And it came to pass, when Yahawashi had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. And one of these disciples ended up betraying him, which was Judas. So he was later on replaced by Mattathias, which was one of the many disciples of Yahawashi that followed him. It wasn't just 12. He had a bunch of disciples that were following him. At one time, the 70 had left him. There were so many others that were following him. You had secret disciples, so on and so forth. But now the reason why John the Baptist sent his disciples to Yahawashi to question him and to ask him this question was this. Now, when John had heard in the prison, so John the Baptist was already locked up in the prison, so he couldn't go directly to Yahawashi to see these miracles that Yahawashi was performing, to where most people didn't believe. Because if John would have seen it, he'd have, oh yeah, of course, that's what the scriptures say. But he was locked up in the prison, and this is why he sent. It says, now when John had heard in the prison the works of Yahawashi, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? So because John himself could not be present because he was locked up by Herod, because when the when the wicked Pharisees and them came to the baptism, what happened? He cursed them out. He looked at him and he said, "You generation of vipers, who had told you to flee from the judgment to come." So he wasn't able to physically eyewitness Yahawashi doing these miracles because he was locked up. And that's why he sent his disciples. Now, when we read on, it says, Yahawashi answered and said unto them, "Go and show John again those things which you do hear and see." To hear and see of where? In the public's eye of the other Israelites that were there, that were watching and witnessing the miracles that Yahawashi was doing at the time. He says, "The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." So all of these other people that were around that didn't have any ailments, they were actually a big cloud of witnesses that were watching Yahawashi commit these miracles and do these miracles, and they actually seen it with their own eyes, which John the Baptist could not do because he was locked up. So Yahawashi sent his disciples back to John to show him those things, right? But this great cloud of witnesses that were witnessing this, some of them believed, but the majority of them did not believe. And that's why Yahawashi got mad. And this is why he said this, "And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." This was not talking about, Yahawashi was not talking about John the Baptist. He was talking about the miracles that he was doing in the midst of all those Israelites that they all witnessed him doing, but some of them believed, but the majority of them did not believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump down. We're going to skip all of this, which we've read before. We're going to jump down to the 16th verse. Matter of fact, 15. It says, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear," because he broke down who John the Baptist was. He broke down that he is Elijah and that he would do great things and that he was the greatest prophet that ever lived. And the reason why he said that he that is least in the kingdom is greater than he is because in the kingdom, everything is going to be perfected. It's not going to be in this filthy flesh that we have now. It's going to be all. I don't hear anything from y'all, then I'm going to end it there, saying that I'm offline. Now they're fucking with the stream bad this time. I don't know how, if y'all brothers can hear me or not. They're fucking with the stream bad this time. Okay, I can hear it now. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going. It is what it is. All right. So, he mentioned all these great things about Elijah, but Elijah, as great as he was still in the flesh, but in the kingdom, it's going to be different because everybody in the kingdom is going to be perfect. All right. So now when we jump down to the 15th verse, "He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." So now these miracles that Yahawashi did in the sight of these people, some of them believed, the majority of them didn't. That's why he said, "And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." Now when we jump down to the 16th verse to get the proper understanding of the scriptures, it says, "But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows and saying, We have piped unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and you have not lamented." So these people that Yahawashi was doing the miracles around, the majority of them, they were hearing it, they were witnessing it, but they weren't getting involved. They weren't doing what Yahawashi told them to do. It says, "For John came neither eating nor drinking." Now again, bigging up John the Baptist. When John came, he came neither eating nor drinking because he was a Nazarite. He ate locusts and wild honey. He wasn't drinking no liquor or wine or nothing like that. And they say he hath the devil, so they called him the devil, which he wasn't the devil, but he was the devil to them because he cursed them out and called them a bunch of vipers. It says, "The Son of Man came eating and drinking." So Yahawashi was eating. They call him a wine bibber. And they say, "Behold, a man gluttonous and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, but wisdom is justified of her children." And this is this is the point, that wisdom is justified of her children. The ones that are the children of wisdom, they're going to get down with the program. They're going to have the oil. They're going to have the eye salve to see and to hear and to get involved. The ones that don't are not going to get involved. And John the Baptist was involved because he actually did what he was supposed to do. He was the forerunner, the preparation. I don't understand what is so hard to understand about that. And when John the Baptist sent his disciples to ask Yahawashi if he was the Messiah, he was locked up in prison. He never got out of prison after that. He was actually killed. His head was chopped off right there in the prison. He never got a chance to get out of the prison because his course had ended. That's why he said, I must decrease and he must increase. So now, as we read on, it says, then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. So John the Baptist preached the baptism of repentance by water. The cleansing of the water was symbolic for the preparation. Just like when the priest, before they did certain services, what did they do? They had to bathe themselves. They had to put on linen clothes. They had to put on a certain attire. They had to be cleansed before they can go and officiate the business. So John the Baptist was cleaning these Israelites before they can actually present themselves before the Messiah. So Yahawashi was saying, all of these miracles you see me do, the deaf get their sight, the lame can walk, the blind can see, so on and so forth. The majority of you haven't believed it. That's why he said, then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Going back to what? And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. You see, because most people were offended in him. And even when he healed the man that was called Legion and took all them spirits out of him, what happened? The people that were there told him to get away from them, get out of their coast. Even after that great miracle. So they're not going to receive that gift of salvation. They're going to be destroyed. This is what it's talking about. Remember, John the Baptist, got to keep saying it for the slow bellies, John the Baptist was locked up in prison when Yahawashi was doing his ministry and teaching the word and doing all these miracles. So he couldn't be physically there. I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that. So that's why he sent his disciples to ask if that was the Messiah, because he wasn't there to physically witness what Yahawashi was doing, because he was locked up. Woe unto thee, Chorazin, woe unto thee, Bethsaida, for if the mighty works which were done in you have been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. So he's running down the things that he was doing, where the places where he was doing these miracles, and these majority of these people were offended at him. But John the Baptist was not offended of him. John the Baptist prepared the way. God damn. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at that day of judgment than for you. And even some of his brothers and sisters, a couple of his brothers and all of his sisters did not believe in him. They rejected him. They didn't accept him. So they would fall under that category. Blessed is he who was not offended in me, because they were offended. It says, and thou, Capernaum, which are exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, and it would have remained unto this day. That bunch of homosexual, lesbian, bestiality, all kind of madness that was going on, if they would have seen the miracles of Yahawashi, they would have repented. They would have stopped doing what they were doing. That's how hard-headed Israel is. It says, but I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. No, so pretty much that's the point. So when we reading up here where it says, blessed is he that whomsoever shall not be offended in me, it's talking about all of these miracles that he did among all of these different people. And they actually witnessed it with their eyes, and they didn't believe. John the Baptist could not physically be there. He had to send his disciples because he was locked up in prison. And he never made it out of the prison because his walk was done. His job was fulfilled. Even the Apostle Paul said, that his course was finished. You know, he fought that good fight of faith, but his course was ending. So are you going to say that all of the apostles that got killed and Apostle Paul that got killed and all the men of the Lord that got killed, they were wicked because they got killed? My goodness. Let's go to one more precept. Mark 9:35. And he sat down and called the 12 and saith unto them, if any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all and servant of all. And he took a child and set him in the midst of them. And when he had taken him in his arms, he said unto them, whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receiveth me. So pretty much, if they receive a man of the Lord in the Lord's name, they're going to receive a prophet's reward. You had helps. Now, were the helps following it? No, because it wasn't their job to teach. It was just their job to support. You had different offices. You had different people back then that believed in the Lord, but they didn't follow the Lord. Legion wanted to follow the Lord. What the Lord said, nah, you don't, I don't want you to follow me. You go and show yourself to your friends and, and tell them the great things that I did for you. So the Lord didn't want him to follow him. But now these individuals here, he allowed them to do the work, even though they weren't following him directly because they were teaching in his name. My goodness. And whosoever shall receive me receiveth not me, but him that sent me. See? So if you receive the Lord, you receive the one that sent him, which is Yahweh. So pretty much, if you doing the work of the Lord, you're going to follow the Lord. If you're not doing the work of the Lord, you're not going to follow the Lord. But there were certain people that didn't follow the Lord that did believe in him. Legion wanted to do it, wanted to follow him, but he didn't allow him to follow him. You see, this pertains to the teachers. The great people. There's gonna be Israelites out there, women and children. Certain men that are gonna be saved because they are part of the elect, and they're not gonna do the work that the prophets are doing because not everybody is a prophet. The job of a prophet is left to the prophets, not to all Israel. It says, and John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and he followed not us. So he's not following behind us, but he's casting out devils in your name. And we forbade him because he followed not us. So they didn't want it. They said, no, you can't do that because, you're not following Yahawashi. So you can't do what we're doing. But Yahawashi said, forbid him not, for there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. So no one is going to do the miracles in Yahawashi's name, then turn around and be a wicked individual. And that's all this is saying. This guy said, don't worry about the small fries. The fuck you talking about, man? Hey, like Cyrus said, I guess ignorance is bliss. For he that is not against us is on our part. And that's the point. He's speaking about these individuals that were casting out devils in Yahawashi's name, but they weren't following directly behind Yahawashi. But he said, for he that is not against us is on our part. This is what he's saying about these men. He's not saying that they're evil, that they're wicked, because they're not following him. For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name. So if you have an individual that comes up to you and say, I believe you're a man of the Lord, here, I give you this water. It says, because ye belong to Yahawashi, verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. Because you have those disciples of the Lord that are disciples, but they're secret disciples. They're not necessarily going out on the streets and teaching the word. Some of them are help. Some of them send help, monetary help. Not everyone is a prophet. Not everyone is a teacher. It says, and whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me. So now going back to who? To these individuals that were casting out devils in Yahawashi's name, but did not follow Yahawashi. And for them to cast out devils in his name, that means they believed in him. Which at first, when the disciples first started, they couldn't do it because they weren't built up yet. But these individuals that were casting out devils in Yahawashi's name, they believed in him. That's why he said, and whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were cast into the sea. You know, these guys don't know the scriptures. We've been saying that for years. They don't know the scriptures. And their ignorance is coming out to the forefront. And if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands to go into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched. That's going into something else. But the point is that Yahawashi was speaking about these same men that didn't follow him, but were casting out devils in his name, and they believed in him. You know, so these guys would offend these little ones that believe in Yahawashi and won't allow them to follow. You know why? Because like Yahawashi said, you know, you want to use scribes and Pharisees, you close the kingdom upon. Matter of fact, let's get that. Oh, here's a good one. Yahawashi answered and said unto them, ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. Let's go to Matthew, next chapter over. Let's just click over. Matthew 23 and 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering in to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore you shall receive the greater damnation. So that's the point, man, that these men that were not following Yahawashi, if that was the case, if the case was that they were wicked, that there was something wrong in what they did, Yahawashi would have said, yeah, matter of fact, that was good that you forbade them. Because if they're not following me, then they're being evil. He didn't say that. He actually gave them praise. You know? And once again, for the slow bellies, the reason why John the Baptist sent his disciples to Yahawashi to ask him the question was because John the Baptist couldn't physically be there because he was locked up in prison and he could not witness those things with his eyes. So they had to go back and tell him about it. But even in the midst of him being in the prison, he didn't come out of that prison sentence because his job was already done. If there was more work for him to do, the Lord would have delivered him out of that prison. Just like James, when James got locked up, James and Peter got locked up at the same time. Herod chopped James' head off, and he was going to get ready to chop Peter's head off, but the Passover was around that time, so he waited, and the Lord delivered Peter out of there because it wasn't time for Peter to go because Peter still had a lot of work to do. James' ministry had finished there. That was all James had to do. See? But anyway, with that, I'm going to leave it there. This has been why did John send his disciples to question Yahawashi? So with that, I pray that, the elect, have been edified. Until the next time I say Shalom. John the Baptist sent his disciples to Yahawashi to ask him the question was because John the Baptist couldn't physically be there because he was locked up in prison and he could not witness those things with his eyes. So they had to go back and tell him about it. But even in the midst of him being in the prison, he didn't come out of that prison sentence because his job was already done. If there was more work